Okay. Hi, guys. Team Talk Tuesday. It is October 29th. Happy early Halloween to everybody. I hope all of your kids or nephews or nieces or neighbors have an amazing Halloween. I'm really excited tonight because Lisa is going to be talking about a book that I just recently started listening to, and it is amazing. Atomic Habits. I probably said that wrong. Lisa will go. Lisa will say the full title, but I'm just going to turn it over to her, and she's going to got an awesome presentation for us, summarizing this book. So take it away, friend.
So she hasn't seen the presentation, so she doesn't know. And Kristen has never seen me present, which I hate doing. This is why, let me preface it with, this is why I wear an all black top when I have to present, because the rash starts in my toes and it goes all the way up to my hairline. So when you see me purple by the time we're done with this, like, that's what's up. I don't enjoy this, but I do it because it's uncomfortable, and that's how I fucking grow. Okay, so anyways, the book, if you have not read it, is amazing. And I literally actually did the deck for this last night for you all. And then that just led me to blogging about it today. And I'm trying to revive my blog. I haven't done it in a while. And I never blog about books I read, but like I literally feel that this book is going to change so much about my life. It's like, that's how strongly I feel about it. So let me screen share. And let me know if you can all see the screen.
Yeah, looks good.
Okay, good, awesome. So I've never done it this way, so let me make sure I can, okay, awesome. So the book is by James Clear, and he starts it by talking about, and it's a really good sample to set into like what really it's all about, being 1% better every day. So who's decided that they want to change things and gets into a brand new exercise routine, sets themselves up a massive schedule for the next 30 days, decides that they're going to eat all the right things, and like just throws themselves at it. Like, yep, I've done it so many times. He talks about the success to it is really just like scaling back, because nobody can survive that huge like change all at once. And think about being 1% better every day. So this was like really good. His example was the British cycling team. They were so bad back in the 1990s when a new manager came in that nobody actually, the biggest bike seller didn't want to sell them their bikes to an Olympian team, didn't want them to have it because they were so bad. They just didn't want them riding their bikes, right? So they were like forgoing the sale. So they turned over management, and this guy came in, and instead of the usual, we're going to do this or this, or whip out players and bring in new players or whatnot, he literally just made very small tweaks over time. So examples of these, like he brought in a surgeon and taught them how to wash their hands properly. Like, how many of us actually wash our hands like this for 30 seconds every time? Like, to eliminate or reduce them getting sick. He did small tweaks in nutrition, didn't put anyone on crazy new diets. He painted the inside of the bands to white as opposed to the color they were, so that they could see every speck of dust that were in those vans that were carrying the bikes, right? Because even every speck of dust can affect the speed of the bike. He changed the lubricating oil that they used. He changed their massages that they got after a ride. Like, it was just one thing over time, building new habits into the team and into the players. And within 6 years, they started winning the Olympics. Like, they were winning Tour de France. They literally changed the team, and they didn't change the players. And he came in, and people say, well, what did you do? What was the massive thing you do? What's like that one thing? So there wasn't one thing. It was these tiny things that they did, and they built into them every time. So that's how he starts out the book. So it's really good to think about that as you think about building habits. Your habits can compound for you or against you. So what do you mean by this? So productivity, your daily tasks, right? They feel like nothing. You know, I'm checking this box, I'm writing this, I'm doing this, but they can add up over time of like your entire career. Knowledge. I read this, or, you know, I read this, or what am I doing? But one new idea won't make you a genius, But like each book you read teaches you something new, and it teaches you how to think differently. Just like this book, like it taught me how to think differently about so many different things I've been struggling with, especially when it comes to habits. So relationships, people reflect back your behavior to you, right? So we hear this all the time, right? Oh, throw out good vibes, karma, and all that jazz. But it's so true. Like if you are out there and you're the person who's getting mad at every driver on the road, you will suddenly realize that like that comes back at you. Like you'll be the victim of that. Like happened to me today when I was mad all last week with drivers. I was like, oh my God, that's like literally just what I was like self-talking to myself about the other day, giving out to the people who cut off across 2 lanes. Anyways, they all add up, right? So negative compounding in the same way, stress, right? So traffic jams stress you out, your kids stress you out, life stress you out, financial pressures, paying bills, everything stresses us out on a daily basis. But if we don't start to tackle those things, they add up into, as we know better, like absolutely like health negative effects, right? Negative thoughts. So the more you think of yourself as worthless or not attractive or I'm stupid or I don't know enough, you actually start to go out into the world and you condition yourself to interpret everything and everyone that you interact with that way. Like it's just got a really strong effect on you more than you think. We talk about mindset and he goes into that later on in the book. He also talks about the negative compounding effect of outrage. When there's a mass movement or riots, they don't just happen after one event. They happen after multiple like daily aggressions build up over time. This thing, and this will be new to some of us because I know in teams like this, we talk about this all the time. And this is probably my biggest takeaway from the book, but forget about your goals and focus on your system. But we talk about systems, so we agree with that and we understand that. But like he literally talks about how if you focus on goals and getting to goals and timelines of goals, you're working against yourself, right? Every Olympian wants to win the gold medal, right? What sets a winner and a loser apart, right? So is it actually that guy wanted it better, like more than that guy? Like that's what people say, oh, he wanted it more. Not really. I mean, we all want things as much as we want them, but what sets us to actually achieve them? He's saying it's a system that you put in place. You focus on the system instead of the goal. I want to win. If I want to win bad enough, I will win. No, if you set yourself up for a good enough system, you will win, right? Achieving a goal is only a momentary change. So if you just focus on goals and not the process, you'll treat the symptom, without addressing the cause, right? So you hit the goal and you're like, oh, that's brilliant. If the goal is I want to make my bed and I make my bed, does that make me better at making my bed just because I made my bed because I said I would make my bed? No, we're just literally reacting to, oh, that's what I wanted to achieve and let me achieve it without dealing with what's the system or the process I set in place to actually make this a reoccurring thing that's worthwhile for me. Goals restrict your happiness. So this was an interesting one. So we always talk about when I get there, then it's awesome. When I lose 10 pounds, then I'm perfect. When I get those abs, then I'm fucking loving life. You know, when I hit national marketing director, everything's perfect. Like whatever it is, it's your goal. If you live to that and you get there, like what if that isn't what makes you happy? Then how do you go from there? So we can't keep setting ourselves and offsetting our happiness till we reach a goal. Instead, you literally have to set up a process that you fall in love with and that you enjoy and that makes your every day a better day as opposed to waiting till the day that you hit a goal. And he talks about how goals are at odds with long-term progress. The purpose of setting a goal is to win the game. But the purpose of building systems is to stay in the game. And this is like really resonated with me when I read this because in my wine business, I've seen some leaders fly up and fall back. And I've seen some of them stay there. And you think, oh, well, some got lucky, some didn't or whatnot. But really it's like if you set a goal to get somewhere, but you didn't build a system, and Juice Plus has a great systems built in. They've been around for 25 years. There's leaders that have been there and done it, which is great and awesome. And I think the point is here that like, that's the point. Like, use those systems. Don't try to recreate them or do it your own way because it's your personality or whatnot. It's like, they exist for a reason. So use the systems and you'll stay in the game longer. Ultimately, it's your commitment to the process that will determine your progress, which was a killer quote. So we go into 3 layers of behavioral change. So outcomes, process, and identity. Outcomes, this is where we're concerned with changing results. We want to drop weight, we want to win a race. The process, concerned with changing the process. So I need a new routine or a workflow or whatnot to get there. And identity is concerned with changing your beliefs, your worldview, your self-image, and your judgment. We usually start with outcomes, like the person who says, well, I'm trying to quit smoking. But we need to start with identity, as in, I'm not a smoker. You have to put yourself in the shoes of the person you want to be. For me, it was like, I want to be a tidier person, right? I don't want to wait to like clean up all the clutter a week later or a few days later. He shares an example of a friend who lost 100 pounds by, and this is where he came up with this, by walking around, and then every decision she made, she asked herself, would a healthy person eat this? Would a healthy person do this? Would a healthy person take the stairs to the elevator? Would a healthy person stay 5 more minutes at the gym? So everything she did, she put herself into the mindset. And I actually started to apply that for a few weeks. I was like, would a clean person walk past that like mess there that you've been ignoring, you know, or would they pick it up? And it's like a little like guilt trip that I gave to myself every time I passed something I didn't want to do. And I made myself stop and do it. And over time, it just became something I started doing. And the minute it becomes something you start doing, it's no longer work. Your brain learns how to do this and you don't have to think about it. And that was one of the best things about this book that I thought about. It was like, I no longer felt bad about not being able to undo bad habits or create good habits. It was like, you can't unlearn something you've already thought your brain to do. But we'll get into that. So the science of how habits work. He goes into 4 laws: cue, craving, response, and reward. We're going to go into all of these in a little more detail. So I'm going to blow past this slide, but I put it all in one so that you all had it in a deck for later. But you want to ask yourself, how can I make it obvious? How can I make it attractive? How can I make it easy? And how can I make it satisfying? And if I want to kill that habit, inverse that. How do I make it invisible, unattractive, difficult, and satisfying? If you're going to go and try to do this yourself, the first thing I will tell you to do is make a list of your current habits. And that's kind of like, I wake up, I turn off the alarm, I check my phone, I go to the bathroom, I weigh myself, I walk out to the kitchen, I turn on the coffee pot. Like those simple things that you don't even think about, those are like what we're talking about. Not I go to the gym at 9 and I drop my kid off at 9:30 and I like, not that. Like these things, you have to actually track exactly what you do every day if you want to start applying any of these strategies moving forward. So that's a to-do item for you guys if you want to try to implement some of this. How to create new habits. First law, make it obvious. Implementation intention. So when X situation arises, I will perform Y response. So this is the literally setting that I will do certain behavior at a certain time in a certain location. So we're going to use meditation, for example. I would meditate for 1 minute at 7 a.m. in my kitchen. Okay, that's an easy, thing to set for yourself. He talks about habit stacking, right? So after a current habit, I will do a new habit. Meditation. After I pour my coffee in the morning, and you go through your habit list, and you look at things that you normally do, and you're like, okay, I always pour coffee. I always do it. It happens 7 days a week. Great. Let me add in my new habit right after that. After I pour coffee, I will new habit. Meditation. After I pour coffee, I will meditate for 1 minute. And then once that sticks, you can stack upon that and build it more and more. For me, it was like, I always piled up clothes on the couch in my bedroom. I hate it. It's ugly, but I do it. But I always make my bed. So my rule was, after I make my bed, I will take the clothes I threw on the couch the night before and put them away. And that was it. And after I do this, I will do this. And that you're already tied to one habit that you do. And all you got to do is you turn and the trigger, cue, you see the clothes, like, okay, yep. And that's what I'm going to do. Obviously, none of this works if you don't literally do the work, right? So none of this is these are all strategies that you do need to work on. But the point is, they're not built on willpower, which runs out, right? The point is that you can train your brain and untrain your brain if you do it in the right way. Motivation is overrated. Environment often matters more. How do we talk about this? So creating visual cues to draw attention to your desired habit, or the inversion of this, make it invisible, right? So our behavior is not defined by the objects in our environment, but our relationship to them. So one thing I wanted to do was not drink wine every single night with a deployed husband. I wanted to drink less wine, right? And I wish I could be that person who's like, I'll have a small glass of wine and then be good. I'm not. So it's either better for me to have a couple glasses of wine or have no glasses of wine. That's who I am. I'm well aware of that. I'm 41 years of age. That's not something I'm going to change. But what I can change is the days that I choose to drink wine. However, it became really apparent to me that my couch, when I sit on it and turn on Netflix, cue, brain goes, where's your wine? And then you have to start working against your brain and saying, you don't want the wine, you don't want the wine, you don't want the wine. You can only do that for so long. So my thing here was like, I've got 2 lovely couches in my bedroom, this ridiculously sized bedroom that never gets used. And why don't I do something with it? All I do is throw my clothes on it. So I redesigned my environment in my bedroom. I'm already working on the habit to keep clothes off the couch. And now we had a nice coffee table in there on an ottoman, and I set it up seasonally for fall. And I put candles on it, and I put my books on it, and I set it up. I've never brought wine into my bedroom. One space, one use. Couch, wine. Bedroom, never wine. I've never done it. Find a space that you've never had your bad habit, the bad habit or the habit you want to eliminate, happen in, and try to use that. Like if you have a quiet space in your room and you're trying to start reading, but you've never read there, you can use that space for that now, right? So you can do it for adding a habit or removing a habit. But I made it attractive, which is one of his laws you'll see down the way. I made it all cute and comfy, got new cushions and cozy blanket, made it attractive. I made it obvious. I stacked up my books. So I created the visual cue. And I also worked on, like, I didn't have to associate that space with me pouring a glass of wine. So what I do now on the days where I don't want to drink wine, I will go into my bedroom and I don't have to work against my brain as in, oh, you're sitting down to read a book, where's your glass of wine? That doesn't exist for me already, right? I don't have to unlearn that, which is brilliant, because the point is you can't unlearn anything. So if something is a situation that you're trying to change, don't go back and sit on the same couch. Don't go back and hang out with the same people in the same room, doing the same thing, having the same conversation if there's something there that you're trying to change, because your environment will kill you. He talks about how most people who come out of rehab, for example, relapse when they're put back in their same environment. But he talks about a lot of heroin addiction that happened in Vietnam. And when those vets came home, 90% of them never relapsed. Whereas 90% of people that leave a good rehabilitation facility here in the United States go back in their environment and go back to whatever they came from, because they go back to the same environment. Why did the vets, like if heroin is that addictive, how could 90% of our veterans kick it immediately? They left the environment. They left all the triggers and all the cues and everything that set them up for that in the first place. And it wasn't even a challenge, right? So one space, one use. Try to think about that as much as you can. I've been trying to like think about how I use areas, you know, in my house. It's important. All right, so it is the anticipation of the reward, not the fulfillment of it, that gets us to take action. which is important when you think about, right? So it's like when we go for these incentives, it's like, oh, that's awesome. I want to get that. It's not necessarily, I got it. It's like, oh, like that could be awesome if I could do it, right? Temptation bundling. So pair an action you want to do with an action you need to do. So we talked about habit stacking, right? So after I make the bed, which is easy, something I already do, current habit, I will clean the clothes off my couch, habit that I need. So then they say, after you do the habit that you need, like clean the clothes off your couch, you will do a habit that you want. Trying to think of something that I want that I do in the morning. I want to go to the gym, but that's not the best example for everyone. So I want to check Facebook every time I pick up my phone, right? The habit is that I pick up my phone. But I need to exercise more. So after I pick up my phone, I will do 10 burpees. After I do 10 burpees, I can check Facebook. So you're inserting it into the thing, right? The trigger is the phone beeped, phone didn't burpee. The phone beeped. And like what I want to do is like, automatically I'll go to Facebook or Messenger or Instagram or one of the million things I want to check. But they're trying to say, oh, so here's the cue. You picked up the phone. Well, you need to exercise more. So for me, it's like 50 push-ups a day. That's my new thing I started a few days ago. So whatever it is that you want to do that I'm trying to inject into my day. So it's like you have to find a place to inject it that's already in between something that you do and something that you want to do. I open the phone. I do want to check Facebook because I do personally, I do professionally, I just do. So if I was to pick up the phone, every time I pick up the phone and do those 5 push-ups before I check that, I'd easily inject my 50 into my day if I wanted to. So it's a good way to add it into what you're already doing. It's a coupling of habit stacking and temptation bundling. Other ways he talks about making it attractive is to join a culture where your desired habit is the norm. So you want to get fit? Join a CrossFit community. There's lots more examples now, but if you've never joined any kind of a gym, the CrossFit has a very big culture element tied to it. And you're going to get a lot of people addicted to what they do. And you can absorb that. Luke, I'm on a presentation. Where is it? All right, go get it, buddy. We also use the example of creating a motivational ritual. So do something you enjoy immediately before a difficult habit. Reading is not a difficult habit for me, but if somebody's trying to read more to increase their knowledge, but you love taking a bath, then go read in the bath. Take the bath and get into that like relaxed mode and then do that afterwards. If you're trying to meditate more, try meditating in the bath or after your bath. Like it depends on what you need to do. You need to couple it with something that you already love doing. And you do it right after or during, whatever makes sense. Reprogram your brain to enjoy hard habits. So this is where we talk about shifting your mindset. So learn to associate them with a positive experience. We say, I have to do this, I have to do that, I have to go to the gym, These are first world problems, people. We get to make sales calls to grow a business of additional income. We get to work out and treat our bodies right and feel good from that. We get to pay a gym to do that or have the equipment in our home. Like these are not real problems. These are things that we get to do. And we should start appreciating them and changing our mind to think about that instead of what like you have to do. I have to fold the laundry. I get to fold the laundry for my 2 kids because I'm blessed with 2 amazing kids that I get to dress. Like change how you think about it instead of just always like the have to do's, right? And the inversion of this, reframe your mindset. So highlight the benefits of avoiding bad habits. So like the thing that you don't want to do, how would you be better if you stopped doing it? Like think about that, write it out, like put it into a mantra, put it as part of your meditation, write it in your journal, your gratitude journal every day, whatever. How long does it take to form a new habit? I loved this. Don't ask how long, ask how many. How hard did you go at the gym? Like, not how many days did you show up and, like, wander around and do a few lap pull downs. Like, what did you do at the gym? So habit formation is a process by which a behavior becomes progressively more automatic through repetition. And the book that the SEAL book that we all chatted about, I just finished that, literally read that in 2 days. Amazing. I mean, like, that started my daily 50 push-ups a day routine. I was like, love this book, love this guy, love this SEAL. So that's a great, like, example of, like, it's not what you can do in 30 days. It's not because he did something for 30 days. It's what he did in 30 days, right? The more you repeat an activity, the more the structure of your brain changes to become more efficient at that activity. So think about it, like, the work gets easier for you. It gets easier, but you have to trudge through, like, the first part. And he honestly says, we're talking hundreds of thousands of reps before your brain, like, feels like this is effortless. So we're not talking about, 10 days or 30 days or whatever. It depends on what you do in those 10 or 30 days. But there's nothing magical about time passing. What matters is the rate at which you perform the behavior. So for me in the wine business, when I started, I was like, yeah, I'm just going to give this a year and see where I'm at, and it's going to be awesome and great. And, like, time will pass and things will happen. And that's not necessarily the truth, which I learned in a year. I didn't get to where I wanted to be in a year, but I learned so much that I did wrong. I learned so much that I could do better. And, I loved the business and the product, right? And I'm invested in it. I'm going to stick with it. I never saw that when I started. The same reason I joined Juice Plus, I realized from my experience with the wine was like, this is a product I love. This is a product that I'm going to give my family. This is a product that I'm going to invest in. So I'm going to invest my time and energy in it as a business, as well as just, like, handing my money over to someone else for it. Why not? But I've also just realized that it's not just hanging around that's going to get things done. It's what I do in that time, right? Make it easy, law 3. So human behavior follows the law of the least effort. We will naturally gravitate towards the option that requires the least amount of work. So he talks about setting your environment to make the habit as easy as possible. We've talked about the environment as well. Like, what is it? Setting things out. Like, do you want to, like, put out if you're trying to work out early in the morning, set out your gym clothes. Some people actually sleep in half of their gym clothes. Like, I can't do that, but, like, it works for some people. But make everything as easy as possible to achieve what you want to achieve, right? Your environment is, like, if you're trying to drink more water, do you have the right, size cups that you want? Like, just reduce friction with good habits, right? And then increase friction associated with bad habits. So what I was trying to do when my husband deployed, and I was just got on board with Juice Plus and was cleaning up my pantry and all that crap, I literally removed everything that I didn't want to eat anymore. Now, I might have wanted to eat some of that stuff, but I donated or I removed from my home. So it's gone. That creates friction. I got 2 kids at home. You think I'm jumping when I have a craving at 7 o'clock at night? I got no babysitter to go, get that food that I want. It's not in my house. When I wanted to drink less wine, I will say I drank all the wine I had left first. And, like, that's honest disclosure, but it was gone. It was gone. And now I was like, okay, I got no wine left. So now I'm not going to order anymore. And I don't buy supermarket wine because that's, like, just against my religion. And it takes, like, 10 days for my wine to arrive. So it was awesome. So now I was like, that's friction. Trust me, that's friction. There was, like, no playing with that. Like, it was literally, it's gone. And this is what I'm going to do. I would have to, like, seriously go through efforts to do that. I'd have to pay, like, express shipping and crazy stuff. So as much as you can create friction to stop a habit, do it. And as much as you can, increase friction to stop a habit and reduce friction to create a good habit. Super important, because we don't want to do the extra work, right? When you start a new habit, it should take less than 2 minutes to do it. So this is interesting. So this is where we think about all the habits we do. So when you read before, I want to read before I go to bed each night. Set your goal to read 1 page. I want to do 30 minutes of yoga. Just set your goal to get your yoga mat. I want to study. Just open your notes. I want to run 3 miles. Just put on your shoes and tie them. Make it easy. So create a gateway habit that can naturally lead you down a more productive path. Like I said at the very beginning, we set up these massive goals and they become really hard to stick with because we set ourselves too much change at once. And it's not about you being weak or incapable or incompetent. It's just, you've got to understand, like, the brain is stronger than we think it is. And that was like why this book like just made me feel so much more empowered and in control of my life than I did. Because I was like, wow, I don't feel so terrible at my failures to change X, Y, and Z. So standardize before you optimize. You can't improve a habit that doesn't exist. So that 2-minute habit backup he talked about, a 2-minute habit, he's talking about like building it back up. So if you started with phase 1, and these phases can be like a week, a few days, it depends on you. It needs to feel natural and not contrived and not painful. You need to figure that out for you. Change into your work clothes, step out the door, try go for a walk, drive to the gym, exercise for 5 minutes. He talks a lot about just showing up in the gym for 5 minutes. Remember, identity. Be the person who goes to the gym. You don't have to be the best person who goes to the gym, but you have to be the person who goes to the gym in order for you to see yourself as the person who can be fitter, that you know, be the person that you want to do, that you want to be. Exercise for 15 minutes at least once per week, and then, you know, build that up to exercising 3 times per week, whatever your goal is. This I'm not going to go through because I know I see the clock on me now, but one-time habits that lock in good habits. These are things he says that if you do one time in your life, I threw this in for a bonus chart for you all, do it, and they will build better habits for you over your entire life. But I can share this whole deck separately from the presentation as well. And the 4th law, make it satisfying. We are more likely to repeat a behavior when the experience is satisfying. Duh. I mean, who doesn't know? The cardinal rule of behavior change: what is immediately rewarded is repeated. What is immediately punished is avoided. So to get a habit to stick, you need to feel immediately successful, even if it's in a small way. I don't even need to get into that. You all obviously have experienced that and know that. Some other strategies that he threw up in the book are habit tracking. There's lots of apps. There's a million apps. I've used some of them. I have a good one now that I enjoy. Accountability Partner, which is just always good for anything you're trying to do, whether it's just a daily check-in on whether you did what you wanted to do. It doesn't have to be somebody that you show up for every day, but you could show up on a messenger for, but somebody that you're accountable to is super important. And he talks about the habit contract, literally writing out contracts to yourself or somebody that you're working with to do something on that make you literally commit to in writing what you are trying to achieve. And that's it, the end. Now it's your beginning. I'm done.
That was awesome. I took so many notes, and I'm actually really glad because one of my habits is trying to finish books. But now I feel like I don't have to because you just gave me all that great information. That was awesome. I absolutely love that. And I feel like so much of this is applicable to working our business, right? Like what really stood out to me was changing your system, you know, focusing on the system, not the goal. You know, if you get a good system in place of consistency, working your business every day, you know, instead of like sitting down on the couch that you always end up watching TV on and falling asleep on, like maybe sit at the table instead, you know, where your laptop is, and, you know, and that will allocate your work time, and that will be part of your system that you do every day, will eventually get you to whatever that goal may be. So I love that. That's awesome.
I think if we think about the fact that, you know, I get the 5 and 1s and the goals that we want to set for ourselves, but if we don't hit them, we get into that disappointment. The point of this is just set yourself up for a daily routine, because if you skip a day doing something, it doesn't become a routine. It doesn't become a routine, guys. It doesn't. You can't do something Monday, Wednesday, and Friday and think that it's going to like bleed into your brain. It's not. Set yourself up for a daily routine and just stick to that. Like, this is what I'm going to do every day repeatedly to get to your goals, instead of this is the goal I'm going to make, right? I think we're going to get cut off in a minute, lady.
I love it. I know, that was awesome though. Well done. Great presentation, Lisa. That was fantastic. Thank you so much. If you guys have any questions about that, feel free to reach out to Lisa or me or anybody, and have an amazing, amazing night. That was fantastic.
Bye, guys.
See you later.